Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kurt. Welcome back to Farlands or Bust. Woof. Finally with the woofs. For those of you who don't know, we wait for Wolfie to signal the start of the episode, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time. But welcome back to Farlands or Bust. This is episode 674. Well, that's right. We had like a pre-made hidey hole here. Hello. Took you long enough. Let us secure that pre-made hidey hole. Oh, we lost the torch. Boop. Grab Wolfie and check our inventory. Get rid of some miscellany. Speaking of miscellany, I don't think we're going to be making fireworks anytime soon, so have fun with that gunpowder and cobblestone, my dear pig friend. And we are going to head west. Continue heading west here in Minecraft Beta 173 for Farlands or Bust. Like I said, this episode coming out on Tuesday, March 20th, 2018. And over at farlandsorbust.com, still raising money for direct relief. Got a fun number to report. Fun number. $2,222 and 22 cents. 22222. And I'm wearing, in honor of this number, I'm wearing a tutu. You'll just have to take my word for it. Really. Yes. I went out, purchased a tutu, and I'm wearing it currently for just this specific moment. Continuing on, so farlandsorbust.com, you can donate to Direct Relief. We're trying to raise $50,000 this season, for the remainder of this season, Season 7 of the series, and when we finally reach that $50,000, we will schedule the Flobathon, which is kind of a live stream marathon end-of-season celebration, and then live, I press F3 to see how far we've walked between the end of Season 6 and the end of this season, so it all depends on how fast you donate, how much you donate, how much you support this amazing charity, Direct Relief, and how quick that happens and how quick we get to that moment. Of course, Season 7 has already been going on for about a year prior to this. I just figured I would append the charity marathon to the end of it here and continue onwards. It's kind of the way we've been telling the difference between each of the seasons, because seasons are a thing we need. This is not a broadcast television show, although according to Google, if you search for it, it'll think so, because apparently the Wikipedia article on Farlands or Bust is filed under shows, and apparently television show is the only type of show that Wikipedia thinks exists. This is the internet. It's all new, brand new. Things are changing. Stuff is different. Woof. These series go on for 674 episodes at least. But yeah, I do appreciate everybody's generosity thus far. And we'll continue to go far. Lands or bust. Got a bunch of questions with those donations as well. We'll get to those in a minute. But boy howdy, I'm getting a bit of that fatigue. Remember the fatigue? Fatigue or bust? That, I guess the fatigue is the bust. But yeah, it's weird because like the weather, maybe it's the weather changing. The weather has been actually quite good. Although I'm anticipating the bamboozle, and I think I'm gonna get it. This past week has been very nice. Last Monday, a week ago, it was like 70 degrees. Went for a hike, as you remember, if you remember those vlogs that went up. I think at the couple days from now, it's going to start to bring back that typical Seattle fall or spring. It's the spring. You can never tell around here. Spring weather, rain, cloudy, overcast, rain. I think there's even a little bit of sprinklage of snow. Speaking of snow, look at all this snow in the near future. But yeah, anyway, I've just been feeling like super not tired. I'm not like well, maybe I am yawning, but I'm not like sleepy. Just like physically, like I can feel it in my spine, that kind of fatigue. Previously, it was associated with the medication I was trying, and I thought I had that figured out. How am I for coal? Doing all right for coal. We do need to replace that iron that we donated to the Guinness World Records. But yeah, feeling the fatigue. It might be, I was talking with a friend, and I was trying to come up with, why is this happening? There must be something wrong. This isn't normal. And it could be because I've stopped, as you know, I'm a person of, what's the word I'm looking for? Habit. And for lunch, I always have the same thing. Sandwich, chips, and a cup of iced tea. Sweet iced tea. Specifically the Tradewinds brand. I have that for dinner. I don't drink anything except for coffee, water, and iced tea. So there's also that. I'm both a person of habit as well as a person of boringness. So I've recently stopped drinking that store-bought Tradewinds iced tea. It just comes in like gallon jugs or whatever. And I've started brewing my own tea. I got a few of those I got a couple ball jugs. Those mason jars. Half-gallon mason jars. I got one of those. They can be used for cold brew coffee, but you could also use them for loose leaf tea strainers that you put into the ball mason jars. And I've been brewing my own iced tea. So I think it's a reduction in sugar and caffeine intake. I'm still drinking coffee in the morning, the same amount of coffee, but without that store-bought Tradewinds sweet tea, I'm missing out on some caffeine and sugar energy. Because I went ahead and did the math. the gallon jugs of Tradewinds iced tea have, per serving, which is an 8-ounce serving, have 19 grams of sugar in them. So per serving is 8 ounces. That means there's what did I come? I did the math, and it turns out in each half gallon, there is 3/4 of a cup of sugar. So that means in each gallon jug, there's a cup and a half of sugar. Just a cup and a half of sugar. That's a lot of dang sugar. And I have not been adding that much to my own brewed iced tea at all. I actually had intended to start using agave nectar and ordered some from Amazon because going out to a store... Jokes. This is funny. It never arrived because recently Amazon literally has lost 3 of my packages, separate packages, because they're using. If I can go on a little bit of a tangent, I suppose it's because I'm in a major area here and kind of the hub of Amazon, but they're starting to use their own shipping service, Amazon, as opposed to UPS or OnTrack. And it used to be OnTrack that lost all my packages. Now Amazon is losing all my packages. I'm getting frustrated. Oh man, George is getting angry. But yeah, I didn't get my agave, so I've been doing sugar, and I'm probably at the most, just because it seemed like so much. I'm like, let's just put like a 1/4 of a cup of sugar into this half-gallon mason jar of iced tea, when in fact, if I wanted to maintain the same amounts, it would have been 3 times as much as that for 3/4 of a cup. So that could be it as well. That could be it as well. I'm adjusting to the lack of sugar and possibly also caffeine. The iced tea, the loose leaf tea I got is kind of more of a. It looked neat. It was called Crimson. Ooh, Crimson. I just like to say Crimson. Crimson. It's crimsony. A crimson loose leaf tea. It's kind of. It's not like a black tea. It's got a lot of what I can deduce as some sort of pomegranate flavorings to it. It's quite good, actually. But I'm sure because it's not straight black tea, it doesn't have as much caffeine either. I just wonder if I can adjust for that. There's gonna be some fatigue, some energy deficiencies, some short-term energy deficiencies while my body adjusts. And I know people who have like gone, like they've simply just cut out all sugars, all refined sugars, and they go through similar like withdrawals. But yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Let's go to sleep and continue in the morning. And awakeness. And awakeness. Hello? Oh, there we go. Oh, you know what I gotta turn this coal and sticks into? Torches, torches, torches! So yeah, that's interesting to think about. I don't know if I could cut out all sugars, because I'd have to stop putting sugar in my coffee. It's the only thing I put in my coffee. Because I'm hardcore like that. And I don't know if I could deal with that. I would have to stop having sweet iced tea and just have iced tea. Also, like, fruits. Fruits have sugar. So, like, my dried cranberries, craisins, if you will, that I put in my oatmeal in the morning, couldn't have that. Trying to think of what else I regularly have that is sugar content. Granola bars that I have for hikes and stuff. Yeah, no, that would be a tough life change, I think. Although not a negative one, I'm sure. Gavova! Indeed. Indeed. So, how you doing? So I just kind of like blanked out and didn't have like a segue for this next segment, so I'm just going to start it. It's the segment where we answer questions from those who donate over at farlandserbus.com through the Tiltify system of donating to Direct Relief. Of course, another reminder that this season, your comments, where your questions go in, are published to the site, to the Tiltify site. That's just kind of a default thing that they do. So keep that in mind. I already got a request from somebody for just a way to send me a private message, which is also acceptable. But yeah, the actual comments that go along with your donations to the charity show up on the site. But that doesn't seem like that big a deal. There's also one way, if you do, for whatever reason, want to send me a private message, there's a contact us on the Tiltify site. That's not for Tiltify or the charity. That's actually to me, to the organizer of the event. In case you were looking for a quick way to send me something that you don't want published for all to see. But these questions were published for all to see, and I'm going to answer them for all to hear. Kavalovi! Like this one from Iris. Did you buy anything special with your very first paycheck? Spelled CHEQUE, so we know you're not from this side of the pond. Or perhaps you're on the north side of the pond. Canada. Or did you maybe ever save up all your pocket money for something special when you were young? I don't know. I honestly don't remember. I had my first job when I was 17, I think. I'm pretty sure I just put it in the bank. I was in school at the time, I'm sure. Yeah, no, I can't quite think of anything specific I did. Or honestly, why I even had a job at that age. Other than, you gotta have a job when you're that age. It teaches you things and stuff. Did you ever save up all your pocket money for something special when you were young? I think normally Lego. I think I spent a lot of like I just got cash and gifts for like Christmas and birthdays and things. I think one of those things was can't remember if I got this as a gift or if I bought it myself. But the Black Sea Barracuda Lego, the big giant pirate ship. I'm pretty sure I bought that with my own money. It was like $100. I think that kind of sticks out in my head, but I also am not 100% sure. But yeah, that rings a bell. That I bought certain Lego sets and like model planes and stuff. Maybe it's hard to say. I don't have a very good memory, short term or long term. Ask me particular things about my childhood or and stuff, and I really draw a blank. But yeah, no, I don't. I'm not. That's the thing. That's one of the things. Talking to people like Cone and Z-Car and Powers and stuff at PAX South. These are people who just go out and do things that they want to do. they're I'm not saying that they're like rich or anything and they do whatever they want, but like, oh, you know, this is they want a car or a project or they have a specific, I don't know, thing they want. They just go ahead and do it. And I don't know. I'm generalizing. I know all of those people have the same reservations that I do, but I don't know. I think it's probably my upbringing. My parents have just instilled this idea of saving money versus spending it. That it's like hard for me to justify things. Like, oh yeah, it'd be cool to have a fun car. It doesn't have to be a $25,000, show car that's like rust-free and flawless and you keep in the garage, except for the 2 or 3 car shows you bring it out every summer. But like, I don't know. I'm willing to spend like, I say this, I would imagine spending like, I don't know, $5,000-$6,000 or something like that. I have that sort of stuff saved up. I don't know why I have it saved up, other than the fact to have it saved up. I have separate accounts for retirement, which are embarrassingly minuscule for when you look at like how much money should you be saving at your current age and how much money will that become when you are ready to retire. I'm pretty much like many in my generation and those to follow. I'm going to have to work until I die, essentially, is how that cookie is going to crumble. If I can even chew cookies, we'll find out. I can't afford the dentist, so but yeah, even that I don't do. Even stuff like to like my current car, like to get like new tires on it or to get a roof rack, just little things I want. Oh, that's a couple $100. I don't need that, do I? Nah, I don't need that. It's I'm very spendthrift, if that's a word I can use properly. I don't know if I'm using that properly. It's a real problem. It's not a real problem. It's just kind of I wish I kind of had more of an impulse. Perhaps I would get in more trouble with such impulse. But yeah, this got off the rails quick, didn't it? So I don't know, like I've never like saved for something, if that makes any sense. I'm trying to think, like even the car I have, I really didn't save for. I just happened to have savings. Just because I wasn't spending, and I'm like, well, I need a new car, so I'm going to put a large chunk of it towards the new car. But I didn't spend, I could have just bought it all outright with cash. But I have to have savings. You have to have savings in the bank. What are you going to do in an emergency? Why else would you have a bank account, Wolfie? So I ended up taking out a portion of it as a loan. It was a good rate too. If it was a crummy APR, I obviously wouldn't do that. But which is, by the way, this month going to be completely paid off. I'm gonna own it. I'm gonna own it. So hey, that means I'm gonna have a few extra pennies left over every month, right? So that means it's all right for old Kurt J. Mac to find himself a fun car, right? To go out and cover himself in expensive tattoos, right? To buy fancy brand name sneakers. What? No, that's not Kurt. Who are you talking about? Oh man. Sorry, but thank you very much, Iris, for the donation to charity. That's something to do with your money. Donation to charity. And the question, which clearly spawned some sort of internal crisis in me. Oh boy. I say it because I've gotten stuck in my I fell down in my boredom and fatigue. I just end up trolling around Craigslist, looking at all these hobbies I'm not starting, and opening up a bunch of tabs. Like browser tabs, not like bar tabs. Getting wasted. Absolutely blasted. That's where all my money's going. No. So yeah, let's go to sleep and continue in the morning, shall we? And we shallness. We shallness indeed. Dravir, with a donation, says and asks, would it be possible to give a shout out to 3 amazing persons out there? Normally I don't, and I don't actually want to start this as a thing. There have been moments in the past where I've kindly denied people wanting to shout out other people, just because I don't want that to be what like an entire episode is about. I would like to answer questions and have conversation. But these people in particular that Dravir happened to choose are people that I personally shout out regardless. So Dravir says, shout out 3 amazing persons that are a huge help in motivation and inspiration. Next to you, obviously. I mean, that's a given, Dravir. Thank you to Fedrin, Calamity Jamie, and Cone Dodger, spelled Cone Doger in this case. Have a nice day to everyone watching. Keep strong and try your best. Love, Dravir. I added the love part of that. I always add the love, don't you know? Wiggly eyebrows. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Fedrin, longtime friend of the Farlands and friend of mine. Calamity Jamie, who proud corgi wrangler and ranger owner, Ranger Danger, and neighbor, not literal neighbor, but seen Jamie a few times. Most recently, Juno and Ranger met to mixed results. Mixed results. Both are kind of strong-headed doggos, but they walk very calmly next to each other. So we think with some gentle reintroductions, these 2 doggos might be able to get along. Internet doggos. And of course, Cone Dodger. As I just mentioned in my previous iteration conversation about money and just tackling ideas and dreams just without hesitation and thought. This is all sarcasm. Wolfie agrees. all fantabulous people that you lot listening should be going out and endeavoring to follow the various goings-ons, and perhaps, if you are so kind as to find them agreeable, and the same way that Dravir says, for motivation and inspiration, helping them out, supporting their work. Thank you very much, Dravir, for that. William asks, hey Kurt. Hey William. Whoa, I dropped my compass. Oh my gosh, that's the most valuable item in my inventory. I've had it the longest of anything I've had. If you were to be the administrator chief CEO of a space organization like NASA, SpaceX, etc., what short and long-term plans would you like to tackle? I'm also going to throw in there that budget isn't a concern, because budget is generally the main concern. NASA could do so much more with even a little bit more, a spicy meatball, a little bit more budget, let alone like doubling the budget, which is still a drop in the proverbial bucket. Yeah, it's they have to have these sort of face-offs between different science teams to bid to get their experiments, missions, funding. Just like recently, the latest survivors of the round of for upcoming missions is another Titan mission, and another what was the other one? Was it a Mars mission? Was it another Mars mission? I forgot. I've forgotten. I can't remember. I think the Titan mission had like balloons or like a quadcopter or something. I can't remember. Anyway, but like, there were multiple missions proposed to Venus, which we really haven't studied in depth as I personally would like to see. But then, there's different sizes of missions. There's the flagship missions, like the Mars rovers and things like that. And then there's the New Horizons missions, New Frontiers missions, actually, like New Horizons, like Juno, that have to be within a certain scope and budget and time frame. So yeah, budget is the primary concern. But if that wasn't a concern, certainly exploring the ocean worlds, Europa. There already is in the works the Europa Clipper, which is a Europa orbiter at the moment. There's no... Is there a lander? Is the Europa Clipper have a lander? I don't know that there's a lander as part of that mission, which with more budget, maybe there could be. But, yeah, the Europa Clipper is already in progress. So yeah, certainly Europa, your Europas, your, ooh, look at this. Ooh, watch your step too. There's Europa, there's, what are the other ones? What are the other ice ocean worlds? Enceladus. That's all I've got off the top of my head. Yeah, honestly, it's difficult to put into words how important Cassini was as a mission. Just how it seemed to be like an overall, let's look at Saturn and it's the Saturnian system mission, and it certainly did that and more. Looking at a lot of the moons. Ooh, I don't know if you can tell, but I burped halfway through that word. Looking at a lot of the moons, actual Saturn and the rings, all that stuff. I feel like every planet should get a Cassini. And we certainly haven't done much at all to study Neptune and Uranus, the other gas giants out there. which have their own very interesting moons. Isn't Triton possibly an ice ocean world? Which is the largest moon of Neptune, I think? Yeah, just get some Cassinis out there exploring those worlds, and also, you know, tack on a Huygens probe to land on an interesting moon of one of those systems. And really, it would just, you know, put one around Jupiter, too. Obviously, we have Juno now, but Juno is very specifically looking deep. It's looking deep. It's asking those deep questions. It's looking deep within, beyond the clouds and into the magnetosphere and you know, the atmosphere composition and stuff like that is what Juno is looking at. And honestly, they put a camera on, kind of as a not last minute, but kind of just as an afterthought. The camera on Juno really wasn't a science experiment or part of a scientific, you know, part of the science at all. It was more of a public outreach thing. But they're finding now with the camera that they're learning like so much more about Jupiter. And if you've seen any of those images coming back from Juno, seeing the depth, like you look at Jupiter, you look at a picture of Jupiter from you know, when Cassini flew by it from the Voyager spacecraft and Pioneer. Did the Pioneer go by Jupiter? You know, you look at it through a telescope. It's colorful and all these stripes and swirls and things, but it looks fairly flat. But these images we're getting from Juno, you're seeing what are distinctly textured cloud tops. You know, when you look at clouds here on Earth, the cumulus and the anvil head, and you know, you're seeing all this texture, which is amazing. And we're finding all these vortices at the poles. You see those radar images of the vortices? It's like a 8-sided swirly vortex of doom. It's pretty amazing. So they're actually like kind of scrambling and from what I read in a recent article to like, oh, well, this is like useful stuff. We got to use this. You know, combining both the imaging of the camera with the data they're getting from the other science instruments is proving to be very valuable. So yeah, I feel like the Jupiter system could use a Cassini-style mission. It would be really interesting specifically in Jupiter because there have been a lot of impacts on Jupiter, of comets, of asteroid fragments and stuff, things that have only been discovered by amateurs who happen to have their telescopes pointed at Jupiter, and then they're like, oh, I see like a plume or a scar on Jupiter. Something must have happened. If we had like a Cassini, we could get like even more in-depth into that constantly changing surface of the planets. Let's send something back out to Pluto, since Pluto really turned out to be something more interesting than we were expecting. And diverse. So yeah, I don't know. And I certainly, not to depreciate or take away any focus on crewed missions. I feel like the crewed missions, and crewed as in crew, C-R-E-W, not crude as in like crude oil. Crewed missions, obviously the place to go is Mars. It'd be nice to set up a place to learn about long-term planetary crewed missions on the moon. A moon base, perhaps. What am I trying to do here? Put down my crafting table. Honestly, like I said, I want to learn more about Venus. Can we? Is it possible to build a lander that will survive the surface of Venus? Probably not. Can we make, since the atmosphere is so dense, can we make some sort of atmospheric plane or balloon or you know, solar powered plane or quadcopter or something to investigate, and then maybe dip down to the surface and then back up to send its radio signals? Is that something we can do? So yeah, it's a long list of things that is all with our current technology stuff that we can do. It's just the budget. It's just the budget that's keeping these things from happening. So get out there and register to vote, kids. and vote in those leaders who decide the budgets, among other things. There are some other things that perhaps you want to decide who to vote for, most recently with. Right, Wolfie, that's right. Got to end the episode. So thank you very much for all these questions. I got a bunch more too. We certainly went on quite a few tangents with the 3 we answered today. 3? Yeah, 3. And I do appreciate all those questions. Keep them coming. Keep the donations coming. FarlandsandBus.com. I appreciate the support. My name is Kurt. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you next time. I got a couple ball jugs.